I spent $300,000 to watch my marriage die in paradise. My name is Alison, and until yesterday I thought I was still living my fairy tale. The small-town girl who made it big, married the charming prince, and finally won over his royal family. Funny how delusion works like that. "Champagne, Mrs. Edwards?" The flight attendant's voice pulled me from my spreadsheet. "First class to St. Lucia, the beginning of the perfect 40th anniversary surprise for my in-laws." "Thank you." I accepted the crystal flute, catching my mother-in-law Sylvia's slight eye-roll from across the aisle. "Really, Alison, champagne at 10 a.m.? Quinn, my sister-in-law, smirked from her seat. "Though I suppose someone who works in finance would want to get their money's worth." I sipped slowly, letting the bubbles numb my tongue. 8 years of these little paper cuts, delivered with perfect manicured hands and practiced smiles. But this trip would change everything. I'd finally prove I belonged. "The resort looks divine," Sylvia commented, flipping through the amenities booklet. "Though I'm surprised you managed to book the ocean suite. Isn't that a bit ambitious for your budget?" "I wanted it to be special," I said, watching King, my husband, pretend to be absorbed in his phone. He hadn't spoken more than 10 words to me since takeoff. "Special indeed," Quinn chimed in. "Guess that executive bonus was good this year." I forced a smile. "The company's doing well." The flight attendant returned with warm towels. I pressed mine against my face, hiding behind the soft cotton for just a moment. $300,000. Every bonus, every commission, every extra hour at the office had gone into this week. The perfect rooms, the private tours, the sunset cruise, each detail meticulously planned over sleepless nights. "Darling," King finally spoke, touching my arm, "we should talk when we land." Something in his tone made my stomach clench. "Of course. Is everything okay?" He didn't answer, just returned to his phone. I noticed Quinn trying to suppress a smile. The rest of the flight passed in a blur of champagne and silence. As we descended into St. Lucia, the Caribbean sun painting the ocean gold, I should have felt triumphant. Instead, dread sat heavy in my chest. The resort entrance was a cathedral of luxury, marble floors, soaring ceilings, staff waiting with fresh coconuts and orchid leis. I was handling check-in when King appeared beside me, manila envelope in hand. "Here," he said, sliding it across the counter. "You should read this now." The young concierge, her name tag reading Kaya, glanced between us uncertainly. My fingers trembled as I opened the envelope. The words "petition for divorce" swam before my eyes. "What?" I whispered. "King, what is this?" "Oh, good, he's finally doing it," Quinn's voice carried across the lobby. "We were wondering when he'd get around to it." The room started spinning. Sylvia's perfectly composed face, Quinn's barely contained glee, the pitying looks from the staff. It all blurred together like a watercolour in the rain. "I'm sorry it had to be like this," King said, not sounding sorry at all. "But you've always had a flair for the dramatic. I figured you'd appreciate the setting." "You knew?" I turned to Sylvia. "All of you knew?" "Darling," she sighed, "we all knew this was temporary. You were never really one of us." I stood there, divorce papers in one hand, resort welcome packet in the other, as King walked away. He paused at the elevator, looking back with that smile I used to love. "She's more like us," he said softly. "You'll understand soon." The elevator doors closed on their satisfied faces, leaving me alone in the lobby. Well, not quite alone. Kaya the concierge was still there, horror evident in her wide eyes. "Mrs. Edwards," she started, "I'm so sorry." "Grant," I corrected automatically. "My name is Alison Grant." Something shifted inside me then, like a switch being flipped. All those years of smiling through their subtle cruelty, of trying to prove myself worthy, they crystallized into something hard and cold and clarifying. I looked down at the resort welcome packet, at all the carefully planned excursions and meals I'd booked, at the premium suite keys in my hand, at the credit card authorizations still pending in my name. "Kaya," I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice was, "I think I'll need to make some changes to our reservations." The smile that spread across my face didn't feel forced at all. For the first time in years, it felt absolutely real. The resort lobby's marble floor felt cold through my stockings. I hadn't realized I'd sunk to the ground until Kaya touched my shoulder. "Mrs. G.R. Allison, would you like some water?" A memory flashed, last Christmas, spilling wine on Sylvia's imported rug. Her voice dripping with disdain. "Oh, darling, do try to be less common." I stood up, smoothing my skirt. "Actually, I'd like access to a computer." "Of course, you can use the business centre, or I can bring a laptop to your suite." My suite? The ocean view penthouse I'd booked for King and me, while his parents got the luxury villa and Quinn the beachfront suite. All paid for with my American Express black card. The business centre will do, and Kaya, I'd appreciate your discretion. She nodded, leading me through the resort's winding corridors. Each step cleared my head a little more, years of memories crystallizing into perfect, sharp clarity. The time Quinn accidentally spilled about my food stamp childhood at a charity gala. Sylvia's annual Christmas gift, a personal stylist consultation, because we must do something about your presentation, dear. King's gradual withdrawal from our joint accounts, always with a reasonable excuse. The business centre was empty, its row of computers facing the ocean. I sat down, logged into my banking app, and began. "First things first," I muttered, pulling up the flight reservations. Their return tickets were still under my name. Cancel, cancel, cancel. A soft ding from my phone, a text from Quinn. "The Infinity Pool Bar makes divine martinis. Do join us if you're done crying." I switched to the resort's booking system. Kaya had given me full access during check-in. I modified the room authorizations, limiting their stays to exactly 1 night. Then I transferred the remaining nights of their luxury suites to my card's travel rewards account. My phone buzzed again. Fiona, my best friend. "Girl, where are you? You haven't posted any vacation pics." I called her immediately. "Fee, he served me divorce papers at the resort in front of everyone." "He what?" Her voice rose several octaves. "That privileged piece of... It gets better. They all knew. They let me spend hundreds of thousands on this trip, knowing." "Tell me you're not still paying for them to stay in paradise." I smiled, clicking confirm on the last cancellation. "Not exactly." "What did you do?" "Let's just say they might want to start looking for flights home. Economy flights." "You didn't?" "I did, and tomorrow morning they're getting kicked out of their rooms." Fiona's laughter echoed through the phone. "You beautiful, vengeful goddess! Need me to come down there?" "No," I said, surprising myself. "I need to do this alone." After hanging up, I sat back and watched the waves crash against the shore. 8 years of trying to fit into their world, of shrinking myself to please them, of being the perfect wife, the grateful daughter-in-law, the quiet target for Quinn's barbs. A resort employee appeared with a fresh coconut. "Compliments of Miss Kaya," he said quietly. I sipped the cool water, remembering the day King proposed. How proud I'd been showing off the ring to my colleagues. Now I wondered if he'd used my money to buy it. My phone buzzed with an email notification. My financial advisor. "Unusual activity on your accounts. Please confirm these transactions." I opened my banking app again, this time looking at our joint accounts. There it was. King had been moving money around for months, small amounts at first, then larger transfers, all to an account I didn't recognize. "Oh, you stupid man," I whispered, taking screenshots. "You left a trail." I forwarded everything to my lawyer, then composed a new email to the resort's security office. Subject line, potential fraud investigation. Standing up, I caught my reflection in the business centre's glass wall. I looked different somehow. Lighter. Dangerous. The elevator ride to my suite was silent. Inside, I unpacked my carefully chosen outfits, hanging each designer piece King's family had pressured me to buy, the clothes I'd worn trying to become one of them. My phone buzzed one last time. King, don't make this difficult. Sign the papers and we can all enjoy the rest of the week civilized. I walked to the balcony, watching his family lounging by the pool below. They looked so small from up here, like expensive dolls arranged in a perfect display. "Oh, we're way past civilized," I said to the empty room, raising my coconut in a mock toast. "Welcome to economy class, darlings." I set an alarm for 6 a.m. I wanted to be awake when security knocked on their doors. After all, I'd paid for this show. Might as well enjoy every minute of it. I woke before my alarm, the Caribbean sunrise painting my suite in shades of gold. Perfect timing. The show was about to begin. From my balcony, I had a clear view of the security team assembling in the lobby. Lionel, the head of security, checked his tablet one last time before leading his team toward the elevators. My phone lit up with a text from Kaya. "Security starting room checks now. Thought you'd want to know." I poured myself a mimosa from the room service cart and settled into my balcony lounger. The resort was quiet, peaceful, for about 3 more minutes. "This is absolutely unacceptable." Sylvia's voice shattered the morning calm. "Do you have any idea who we are?" I leaned forward, sipping my drink. Through the glass doors of their villa, I could see Lionel maintaining his professional composure. "Ma'am, I understand your frustration, but your room authorization expires in 1 hour. We'll need you to either extend your stay with a valid credit card or vacate the premises." "Valid credit card?" Quinn's screech carried across the courtyard. "We're here on a family vacation. Alison handled all the arrangements." "Mrs. Grant's card is no longer authorized for these rooms," Lionel explained. "She's modified the reservations." A door slammed. King emerged from his suite, still in his monogrammed pajamas. "This is ridiculous. Get Alison down here now." My phone buzzed. King calling. I declined with a swipe, then watched him stare at his phone in disbelief. "Sir," Lionel continued, "you have 55 minutes to make alternative arrangements. After that, we'll be forced to remove your belongings." "Remove our—" Sylvia clutched her pearls. "This is outrageous. We're calling our lawyer." "Please do," Lionel replied smoothly, "though you might want to pack first." I finished my mimosa as they scrambled between rooms, their voices rising in panic. Quinn tried her credit cards, all declined. King's cards, same result. Sylvia's Platinum Amex, rejected. "This is that little gold digger's doing," Quinn's voice cracked. "She's trying to humiliate us." "Trying?" I murmured to myself. "Succeeding, darling." My phone lit up again. Sylvia, this time. I let it ring, imagining her face getting redder with each unanswered call. A commotion drew my attention to the pool area. King was arguing with the bartender, who kept shaking his head. "What do you mean my room charge privileges are revoked? I ordered that bourbon last night." "I'm sorry, sir. The system shows your account has been suspended." I ordered another mimosa through the resort's app, charging it to my still very active account. The same bartender who'd just denied King delivered it personally, giving me a subtle wink. "Thank you," I said, tipping generously in cash. "How's everyone doing down there?" He grinned. "Let's just say I've never seen anyone try to barter a Rolex for a hotel room before." Exactly 1 hour after the first warning, Lionel's team began removing luggage from the rooms. Quinn's designer suitcases, Sylvia's hat boxes, King's carefully packed golf clubs, all deposited in the lobby. "You can't do this!" Sylvia was nearly hysterical now. We're the Edwards family." "Not for long," I muttered, thinking of the divorce papers in my safe. A small crowd had gathered in the lobby, watching the drama unfold. Among them, I noticed a man typing furiously on his phone, occasionally snapping pictures. A journalist, maybe? Perfect. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Alison, please, you've made your point. Let's talk about this like adults." I checked the number. King's new phone. He must have switched devices when I blocked his old one. "Like adults?" I texted back. "You mean like serving divorce papers in public? Or planning this ambush while I paid for everyone's luxury vacation?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, "You're being childish." I smiled, typing, "No, darling, I'm being economical. First class was wasted on you anyway." Below, Lionel was escorting my former family toward the resort entrance. Quinn was crying, mascara running down her face. Sylvia had moved from outrage to bargaining, offering her jewellery as collateral. King just looked shell-shocked, like he couldn't quite believe his perfect plan had backfired. Another text from Kaya. "Security found something interesting in Mr. Edwards's room, some papers you might want to see." "Bring them up," I replied. I ordered breakfast, the full spread charged to my room, and settled in for a long, leisurely morning. After all, I had 7 more days in paradise, a penthouse suite all to myself, and what promised to be some very interesting reading material. From somewhere in the resort, I heard Quinn's final screech. "How are we supposed to get home?" I raised my glass to the empty air. "Economy class is that way, sweetie. Better hurry. I hear coach fills up fast." The infinity pool sparkled like diamonds in the afternoon sun. I adjusted my new bikini, a little revenge purchase from the resort boutique, and settled onto a lounger with my laptop. Well, well, look who decided to show her face. Quinn stood over me, blocking my sun. Her designer cover-up was wrinkled, probably from sleeping in the airport lounge. "Quinn," I said pleasantly, "no luck with the flights?" "You vindictive bitch." She dropped into the chair next to me. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I took a deliberate sip of my mojito. Cancelled some unauthorized charges, protected my assets. Please, enlighten me. "We're stranded here. Mother had a panic attack at the airport. They wanted $12,000 for last-minute first-class tickets." I checked my email. The business class tickets I originally booked were only $6,000 each. But you're right, last-minute fares are crazy. A man at the nearby bar perked up, angling his phone in our direction. The same one from the lobby drama earlier. Quinn leaned closer, her voice dropping to a hiss. "King told us everything. How you trapped him with your new money, how you never fit in despite all his family's efforts." I laughed, actually laughed. "Is that what he said? Interesting. Did he mention the money he's been siphoning from my accounts?" Her face flickered. "What? Oh, you didn't know? Your perfect brother has been stealing from me for months. Want to see the bank statements?" "You're lying." I opened my laptop, turning it toward her. "Numbers don't lie, Quinn, but families do, don't they?" She stared at the screen, at the trail of transfers leading to an unknown account. Her perfectly maintained facade cracked slightly. "That's not... he wouldn't..." "Mrs. Grant?" Kaya appeared poolside, holding a folder. "Those documents you requested from security." "Perfect timing." I took the folder, pulling out a stack of papers. "Look, Quinn, loan application's in my name, but that's not my signature, is it?" Quinn's face went pale. "I need a drink." "Oh, sorry, your room charges are suspended. Cash only." The man at the bar, definitely a journalist, was now openly recording on his phone. "You know what the funny thing is?" I continued, enjoying myself now. "I actually thought this trip would finally make me part of the family. $300,000 to buy your approval." 300? Quinn choked. "That's impossible. First-class flights, Luxury suites, private tours, that sunset cruise you were so excited about. I ticked off my fingers. It adds up, but don't worry, I'm getting my money's worth. By humiliating us. No, by finally seeing you clearly. I closed my laptop. Do you know what the resort staff told me? They overheard King planning this whole thing. The divorce, the public humiliation. It was all scheduled, like a show. Quinn's silence spoke volumes. But here's what I don't get, I continued. Why let me spend all this money first? Why not just serve the papers at home? Because, Quinn started, then stopped. Because he needed the money, a new voice said. I turned to see Kaya, who hadn't left. For her. My stomach tightened. Kaya glanced around, then lowered her voice. I wasn't supposed to say anything, but there's someone else. Someone who's been visiting him here. They had it all planned, using your money to fund their fresh start. Quinn stood up abruptly, knocking over her chair. Quinn, I called after her retreating form, don't you want to know who it is? She walked faster. The journalist approached my lounger. Hi, I'm Carson. I couldn't help overhearing. Would you be interested in telling your side of the story? I looked at his phone, still recording. You caught all that? He nodded. It's going viral already. Wife's first-class revenge is trending. I considered the implications. The humiliation they'd planned for me turned back on them, the perfect karma. You know what, Carson? Let me buy you a drink. I have quite a story to tell. Actually, Kaya interrupted, there's something else you should know about King's visitor. My phone buzzed, a news alert. Someone had posted security footage from the resort. The headline read, Luxury Resort Drama. Scorned wife turns tables on gold-digging family. I smiled at Carson. Looks like you have competition. Trust me, he said. When you hear the whole story, this is going to be much bigger than a viral video. I gestured to the bartender for 3 drinks. Well then, let's give the internet what it wants. But first, Kaya, who is she? The other woman? Kaya's expression was pained. That's just it. It's not a woman. The pieces started falling into place. King's sudden interest in Quinn's friend Jude. The secret account. The perfect plan. Oh, I said softly. Now that's going to make one hell of a story. Your story has 2 million views. Fiona's voice crackled through my phone. Twitter is calling you a queen. There are memes. I was having breakfast on my private balcony, watching the sunrise over the ocean. How bad is it? Bad? It's glorious. Chic, first-class karma is trending. Someone made a TikTok reenactment of the lobby scene. A knock at my door interrupted her gleeful report. Hold on, Fee. I opened the door to find Jude standing there, looking expensive and uncomfortable in resort wear that matched King's usual style. We need to talk, he said. Fee, I'll call you back. The other woman just showed up. I paused. Well, the other man? Holy shit! Record everything! I hung up and gestured Jude inside. He walked to the balcony, taking in the ocean view I'd originally planned to share with King. Nice suite, he said finally. It should be. I paid for it. I sat down at my breakfast table. Coffee? How long have you known? About you and King. I poured myself another cup. Kaya told me yesterday, though I suppose I should have guessed. All those business trips with Quinn's charming best friend. He had the grace to look ashamed. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. No. I set my cup down carefully. How was it supposed to happen? We were going to tell you privately. But then you planned this trip and King thought... Thought what? That humiliating me in paradise would be more fun? He said you trapped him with money, that you were controlling, that you'd destroy him if he left. I laughed. Is that what he told you while spending my money on your secret rendezvous? Jude shifted uncomfortably. The transfers? were illegal, I finished. Forged signatures, unauthorized loans. Did you know about those? His silence was answer enough. Here's what I don't understand, I continued. Why let me spend hundreds of thousands on this trip? Why not just leave? Because, he swallowed, because we needed the capital for our new venture. The pieces clicked. The mystery account. You're starting a business. A luxury travel company. King said you'd never notice the money missing, that you were too busy trying to impress his family. My phone buzzed. Another news alert. The story had hit mainstream media. Well, I smiled, I'm certainly making an impression now. Alison, please, Jude stepped forward. We can fix this. Keep it quiet. Like how you kept your affair quiet, or how Quinn kept quiet while watching me plan this whole trip. Quinn didn't, he stopped. Didn't what? She didn't know about me and King. No one did except Sylvia. The coffee cup froze halfway to my mouth. His mother knew. She caught us last Christmas at the family estate. She said... He looked away. She said you were never really family anyway. I set the cup down before I could throw it. Get out. Alison. No. I stood up. You and King stole from me. You conspired to humiliate me, and now you want mercy. The publicity could ruin us. Should have thought of that before using my money to fund your happily ever after. A commotion outside caught our attention. On the beach below, King was arguing with the resort security, trying to get back onto the property. Your boyfriend's making a scene, I noted. Jude rushed to the balcony. He's drunk. He's been drinking since the story broke. Not my problem anymore. I picked up my phone. Though I should warn you, my lawyer's very interested in those forged documents. You wouldn't? I already did. The police have been notified. I showed him my screen. Emails from my legal team. Fraud charges are serious, Jude. Hope that travel company was worth it. He left without another word, hurrying down to the beach where King was now shouting my name. My phone rang. Fiona again. Girl, you won't believe what just hit the internet. Someone leaked security footage of King and some guy kissing at the resort last Christmas. I watched Jude reach King, trying to pull him away from the growing crowd of onlookers. Actually, I said, I believe it completely. Want to hear something interesting about Sylvia? Below, security was escorting both men off the property. Guests were filming on their phones. Carson, my journalist friend, was taking notes. You know what, Fee? I smiled, raising my coffee cup in a toast to the chaos. I think I finally found the perfect way to thank them for all those etiquette lessons. Nothing says proper breeding quite like a public scandal. Mrs. Grant? Lionel knocked on my door. There's a situation in the lobby. Mrs. Edwards Sr. is demanding to see you. I checked my reflection in the mirror, adjusting my designer sundress. Another charge on my still active room account. Is she alone? Yes. And... He hesitated. She's crying. Now this I had to see. The lobby was quieter than yesterday's chaos, but heads turned as I walked through. A few guests even raised their phones, probably hoping for another viral moment. Sylvia sat on a plush sofa, her perfect posture finally broken. Her makeup was smeared, her designer outfit wrinkled. She looked human. Alison, she said, standing, please. I sat across from her, crossing my legs carefully. Shouldn't you be at the airport? I saw the news, her voice cracked. The videos, the story about King and Jude, I supplied helpfully. Your son's lover, the one you caught last Christmas. She flinched. I should have told you. Yes, I agreed. You should have. Instead, you watched me spend hundreds of thousands on this trip, knowing it was a setup. I thought... She twisted her handkerchief. I thought if you gave him enough, he might stay. With you. The proper choice. I laughed, drawing more attention from nearby guests. The proper choice? You mean the choice that wouldn't scandalize your country club friends? You don't understand. Our family name. Stop. I leaned forward. Let me tell you what I understand. I understand that for 8 years you treated me like something stuck to your shoe. Every holiday, every family event, every charity gala, you made sure I knew I wasn't good enough. That's not. Remember last Thanksgiving? I continued, when you announced to everyone that at least my humble background meant I knew how to properly tip the staff? Or the time you gave me a book on proper table etiquette for Christmas? Sylvia's face crumpled. I was trying to help. No, you were trying to fix me, to mould me into someone worthy of your precious family name, all while knowing your son was stealing from me to fund his secret life with another man. The money, she started, was mine, I finished. Every dollar, my bonuses, my commissions, my inheritance from my grandmother, the money you all looked down on until you needed it. A small crowd had gathered, trying to look like they weren't listening. Carson was there too, phone ready. What do you want? Sylvia whispered. Name your price to keep this quiet. I stood up, smoothing my dress. You still don't get it. I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you any more. Please, she grabbed my arm. The press is calling. Our friends are calling. Quinn's had to delete all her social media. Funny how karma works, isn't it? I gently removed her hand. All those years of teaching me about proper behaviour, about family loyalty, about keeping up appearances. Now look who's causing a scene in public. I'll lose everything, she said. My charity board positions, my social standing, like I lost my marriage, my dignity, the money I earned. I shook my head. You raised vipers, Sylvia. Now they have nothing to eat but each other. Her sob echoed through the lobby. Perfect timing, just as a new group of guests walked in. Oh, and Sylvia, I turned back. Those forged loan documents the police are investigating. They have your son's fingerprints all over them. Might want to hire a good lawyer instead of worrying about the country club gossip. I walked away, head high, feeling the weight of eyes following me. At the elevator, Kaya was waiting with a tablet. The local police want to take your statement, she said, and there's a call from Good Morning America. Book the interview, I decided, but first I need a drink. My phone buzzed. Quinn, they're saying King embezzled millions. Tell me you didn't know. I typed back, like you didn't know about Jude. We all keep secrets, Quinn. Some are just more expensive than others. The elevator opened to my floor. Inside my suite, I found a bottle of champagne with a note from Carson. Story goes live tomorrow. Thought you might need this. I popped the cork and walked to the balcony. Below, Sylvia was being escorted to a taxi, still crying. In the distance, I could see a police boat approaching the resort's private dock. My phone lit up again. Fiona sending a link. Rich Family's Paradise Nightmare. The full story behind first-class karma. I raised my glass to the setting sun. Here's to proper breeding, I whispered, and the proper price of betrayal. The champagne had never tasted better. The video of your husband's arrest has 10 million views, Carson said, showing me his phone. People are calling it the first-class takedown. We were sitting at the resort's beachfront restaurant, watching police escort King and Jude from their budget hotel in handcuffs. The local news was covering it live. Fraud charges, Carson continued, plus unauthorized access to financial accounts. They're saying it could be years in prison. I sipped my coffee. And the business they were planning? Dead before it started. Investors pulled out the moment the story broke. He checked his notes. Oh, and Quinn's been fired from her charity board position, something about family values. How ironic! My phone buzzed. Good Morning America's producer confirming tomorrow's remote interview. They'd already sent a professional lighting setup to my suite. You're going to be famous, Carson said. People love a revenge story, but this is Shakespeare-level drama. Mrs. Grant? Kaya approached our table. "There's a woman in the lobby asking for you. Says she's your mother-in-law's sister." I hadn't even known Sylvia had a sister. The woman waiting in the lobby was Sylvia's opposite. Warm smile, simple clothes, genuine presence. "Alison, I'm Margaret." She extended her hand. "I've been wanting to meet you for years. But Sylvia, well, she's particular about family gatherings." "You mean I wasn't good enough for them?" Margaret laughed. "Honey, none of us were. Why do you think I wasn't invited to holidays?" She sat down. "I saw the news. About King, about the money. Sylvia called me crying." "Looking for sympathy?" "Looking for a loan, actually. Their accounts are frozen pending the investigation." She shook her head. 8 years you put up with them. I lasted 3 family dinners before telling Sylvia exactly where she could put her etiquette books." Despite everything, I smiled. "Would have loved to see that." "Listen," Margaret leaned forward. "I know you don't need advice from another Edwards, but don't let this make you bitter. What you did, pure poetry, but don't let it define you." My phone buzzed again, a text from Quinn. "They're taking Daddy's boat. Mum's having a breakdown. Please help." I showed Margaret the message. "Ah," she said, "the mighty have fallen. Question is, are you going to catch them?" "Why should I?" "You shouldn't. But mercy, when you have all the power, says more about you than them." I thought about it. "What would you do?" "Me?" She grinned. "I'd let them sweat a bit longer. Then maybe, if they showed real remorse, I'd consider calling off a few dogs, but only after they'd learned their lesson." Carson appeared with more news. "Twitter's exploding. Someone leaked audio of King and Jude planning the whole thing. They're calling you a feminist icon." Margaret stood up. "Sounds like you've got work to do, but remember, the best revenge isn't just about destroying your enemies. It's about building yourself up stronger." After she left, I checked my messages. Interview requests, book deals, even a movie option. The story had struck a nerve. "Mrs. Grant," Lionel approached. "The police would like to know if you want to press additional charges. They found more evidence of financial misconduct." I thought about Margaret's words, about power and mercy. "Tell them," I paused, "tell them I'll think about it." My phone lit up with a news alert. "Socialite families fall from grace. A modern karma tale." "You know what's funny?" I told Carson. "They always said I wasn't good enough for their world. Now their world isn't good enough for anyone." "What's your next move?" he asked. I watched the sunset paint the ocean gold. The same view I'd planned to share with King, now mine alone. "First, I'm going to finish enjoying my very expensive vacation. Then," I smiled, "I'm thinking of starting my own investment firm. Something about helping women protect their assets from fraudulent partners." "Nice angle," Carson nodded, "turning pain into purpose." Kaya brought over a letter from Fiona. Inside was a cheque and a note. "For your next first-class trip, this time fly solo." I tucked the cheque away and ordered champagne. The resort staff, now practically my family, brought it with knowing smiles. "To karma," Carson raised his glass. "No," I corrected, "to new beginnings." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with another text from Quinn. "The press is outside our house. Please, we're desperate." I left it on read. Some lessons need time to sink in. The champagne bubbles caught the last rays of sun, turning golden like the future ahead. First class indeed. "Your final signature, Mrs. Grant." My lawyer slid the last divorce document across his desk. "Once filed, it's officially over." Through his office window, I could see reporters still camped outside. The story hadn't died. It had evolved. Every new revelation added fuel. King's guilty plea, Jude's immunity deal, Quinn's leaked texts about helping hide the money. "Before you sign," he said, "there's been another offer from the Edwards family." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh?" "Sylvia's willing to testify against King in exchange for your discretion regarding certain family matters. Too late for that. I signed with a flourish. The documentary starts filming next week. My phone buzzed. Margaret. Saw Sylvia at the country club. They revoked her membership. Karma's got good taste. The intercom crackled. Mrs. Grant, Good Morning America is calling about the book deal. I gathered my things, including the final divorce papers. Tell them I'll call back. I have a meeting. Outside, cameras flashed. I'd learned to ignore them, striding past in my Louboutins, bought with my own money, not stolen funds. Fiona waited in her car. Ready? For this? Been ready my whole life. We pulled up to a sleek office building. The sign read, Phoenix Financial, Women Protecting Women. Inside, dozens of women waited in the conference room. Each had a story. A king, a Sylvia, a betrayal wrapped in privilege and presumption. Ladies, I began, welcome to your financial freedom. My phone lit up. Quinn calling. Again, I declined it. Again. Mrs. Grant, my assistant appeared. There's a visitor. Says she's family. Margaret walked in, carrying a familiar etiquette book. Thought you might want to burn this. Sylvia's personal copy. The women in the room laughed. Actually, I said, let's keep it. Reminder of where we started. My presentation screen showed the viral photos. King in handcuffs, Sylvia crying in the resort lobby, Quinn being served court papers for conspiracy. See these people? I told the room. They thought money meant power, that wealth meant worth. They were wrong. Fiona pulled up the latest news. Edward's family estate seized in fraud investigation. Your story changed everything, one woman said. Made us realise we're not alone. My phone buzzed. Carson. Documentary crew found more footage. You won't believe what Sylvia admitted on camera. You know what the best revenge is? I asked the room. Not the viral videos, not the criminal charges. It's this, turning their weapons into our shields. Margaret smiled. Poetic. The intercom chimed. Mrs. Grant, King's lawyer is calling about a settlement. Tell him I don't need his money. I turned back to the women. I'm building my own empire. We all are. My phone lit up again. Kaya sending a resort photo. The Ocean View penthouse, now permanently reserved in my name. For your next victory celebration, she wrote. Ladies, I raised my water glass, welcome to first class. This time we're flying ourselves. The room erupted in applause. Outside, more reporters waited. But now they asked different questions, not about scandal and revenge, but about empowerment and change. My phone buzzed one last time. Sylvia, please, the police are taking everything. I typed back, remember when you said I wasn't good enough for your family? Turns out your family wasn't good enough for anyone. Then I blocked her number. In my office later, I found a package from the resort. Inside, the room key from that first night, mounted in a frame with a note from Lionel. The moment Karma checked in. I hung it beside my degrees and financial licenses. A reminder that sometimes rock bottom is just the foundation you need to build something better. Fiona poked her head in. Ready for the investor meeting? I grabbed my briefcase, pausing at the etiquette book on my desk. 8 years of trying to fit their mould when I should have been breaking it all along. You know what? I smiled. I'm booking a flight tonight, first class, window seat. Running away? No. I touched the framed key, going back to where it started. Some women from the support group want to learn about financial independence. Thought I'd teach them somewhere beautiful. The resort? Where else, after all? I picked up my phone, already pulling up the booking app. I hear the Karma there is excellent this time of year. I booked the flight, 1 seat, first class, no one beside me, just how I liked it now. The empire I was building might not have the Edwards name, but it had something better. Truth, strength, and women rising together. That's worth more than first class could ever buy.